So, ghost stories. Do you want to start or me?
I don't know. You start.
Okay, so... I'm trying to think. What's the scariest thing? Or should we say scariest things last?
I don't know. Well, I guess, okay, I have one. I was at it's called the New Brunswick Castle, and it's in Pennsylvania. And it was just my dad, my brother, and I, and then 2 tour guides at the time. That place was completely dead that day. No pun intended, I guess. It was supposedly one of the most haunted, places, in the, Brownsville area in Pennsylvania. And, my brother was too scared, so he stayed out front with one of the tour guides while my dad and I went inside. And, the rooms, the castle was beautiful. It was a beautiful castle. In one of the rooms, it was called the Red Lady's Room. That's where the main lady of the house stayed. The tour guide was talking, and, I heard, like, this, it still gives me chills. Like, the hair on the back of my neck still stands up from this. But, I heard this long, like, really eerie moan. And, me and the tour guide looked at each other, and he's like, "Did you hear that?" And I was like, "Yeah." And, my dad, being half deaf at the time, he didn't hear it, so it was kind of funny, because he was like, "Hear what?" But, it was really long and dragged out. It was really creepy. And then they had the slaves' quarters. It was this small room, and, I walked in there, and I felt like the air was, like, really thin, and I felt like I couldn't breathe. So I was like, I can't be in here. And, the tour guide was like, so I stepped out of the room, and I was completely fine. And, I just stood outside the door, looked in, and the tour guide was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "No, I felt like something was choking me, like something was grabbing around my neck and choking me." And, he said that the slave had hung herself in that room above the bed. So I thought that was pretty...
She hung herself above the bed?
She hung herself above the bed. Well, there was a bar above the bed, too.
That's really fucking weird.
It's creepy, right?
Why would you have a bar over your bed?
It was just how the house was built. But, like, it was really creepy. Like, I didn't know that before I went in there or anything, and I just felt like something was choking me, like I couldn't breathe, so I had to get out of there. I was kind of freaking out. But, that's just one of my ghost stories.
Trying to think, because I don't have that many. Do you notice the camera shaking?
I think it's just
the
one.
ghost.
Do you want to tell them about my guitar?
Oh yeah, okay, so, do you want to bring it out here so they can see it?
Yeah.
Okay, so, when she moved in with me the first time, she brought this guitar that her dad gave her. And we kept it in my room. Not this room, but the room on the other side of the wall,
and
whatever.
Just so you guys know, my dad passed away back in 2007. And I got this guitar when I was 12. So I got this guitar a year before he passed away. But I'll bring it out. You can continue telling the story. You can see the case, like, and it locks in 3 different places. Like, this guitar... It's locked, and once it's locked, it's, it's not like animals.
Leave it out. I'm going to use it for example. Okay, so, she had it... You might want to close it.
Okay.
Unless you want to take it out, because I'm just going to use the case. But, I mean, you don't have to have it in there if you don't want to. But yeah, just lock it up, so...
Alright.
Okay, so, when she moved in with me, she had it leaning against the wall, standing up. I went into my room one time, and it was just, like, on the ground... Where's the other lock? Opened. Just laying there. And I was like, okay, did you mess with your guitar? And she was like, no, why would I do that? I've been out in the living room all day. So then we go back in my room to show her. And it's standing against the wall again.
I want you guys to know, a couple years ago when I lived with her, no one would be in the house with me during the day. I was the only one with the animals. But it's not like one of the animals could just unlock the case and stick it upright. But I thought that was pretty funny because my dad was always a big prankster. So he liked to joke around a lot. And unfortunately, I never got around to actually doing guitar lessons, so I have no idea how to play this guitar, and I rarely ever touch it. I usually take it out to show people it because I really love this guitar. I'm really connected to it, but I figured it was just my dad pulling a prank on us.
So then my sister had the room across the hall, which I'm going to show you a picture of the hallway that has to do with another ghost story. But my sister across the hall, she was like, were you in your room at 2 in the morning, like, opening and slamming drawers? And I have a lot of drawers. Okay, all of that was in that room, too. Showing the world my messy room. And we were like, no, we were in the living room. Like, we fell asleep in there. And she was like, you were in your room at 2 in the morning, slamming all your drawers, open and closed. And we were like, no, we weren't.
And mind you, Jessie had school the next morning, too. So she had to be up at, like, 6 a.m. for school. There's no way, reason for her to be awake at 2 a.m.
Yeah, it's like I wouldn't be slamming my drawers open and closed all night. Like, so, anyway, the hallway, I walked out of my room through that door, and then there's another sliding door to the rest of the house. I opened the other door, and I looked down the hall, and I saw, like, a flash just, like, run across the hallway.
Oh.
It's a really small hallway, so...
It's very narrow. And, I remember one day while she was at school, her sister was at school, everybody was at work, I was in the living room and I was watching, Netflix on the laptop, and I was on the couch laid out, and the laptop was right here, so I was kind of like this, like if you were the laptop, like looking at you. And, from, like, the corner of my eye, like, above the laptop, I saw this, like, black shadow, like, run by really quick and into, like, the fireplace. And I was like, okay. Like, I went outside and I stayed out there for a good hour at least.
There was one time, I came home from school, like, in elementary school, and I went in the living room, and I went to, like, turn the light on from the string, and this flash of, like, black just, like, ran across my face and, like, through the sliding glass door. And that happened, like, twice to me.
And I just want you guys to know, that was in this house. Like, she's lived here her whole life. So, all of this stuff has happened in her house.
Okay.
Except the New Brunswick Castle thing.
With that, I think, should mention... My dad lived in this house since he was 16. He's the first person to ever live in this house. They used to rent it out to college kids. So no one's died in this house except for, like, animals. But there is a Ouija board in my attic from the college kids.
Every time you tell me that, it's like you're telling me for the first time, and I'm like, why the frig are we still here?
So we can't get into the attic to, like, get rid of it, so it's just gonna stay up there. But I watched a lot of horror movies. I was always afraid I would see, like, faces in my air vents, and I would hear, like, running in the attic. But it's, like, really thin flooring. Like, my dad's kind of fell through the floor in the attic before. But nothing too serious. But it is, like, a really old house, kind of. But it was, like, built in, like, what, the 80s? So it's not that old. Like, I'm almost as old as this house, and I'm almost 20. Or I'm about 20.
I have another ghost story, too, and it's kind of, like, a really scary one. It's actually the full video. I'll just give a rundown of it. The full video is on my channel. But I was really little at the time, and it was just my dad, my sister, and I, and we lived in this one-bedroom home, and my sister and I shared a bunk bed, and it was like a wooden bunk bed, so now I have a fear of wooden bunk beds. But late at night, I woke up, and I was sleeping on my back, so I'd, like, peered over, and I heard, like, I don't know, I can't remember exactly what I heard, but I heard something, and I looked over, and there were, like, these long claws, and, like, mind you, I'm like 3 or 4 when this happened, okay, so, it's not like I'd ever seen anything like this before, or, I don't know, leave it up to my imagination, I guess, but, I had peered over, and I saw these long, sharp claws, like, hanging on my, wooden bunk bed, and, like, a face peering over me, and, like, the full description is in my, video, like I said, but, it was really scary, and, like, it's something I can still see very clearly to this day, and that was almost 20 years ago, And like, oh my god, I'm old. Oh my god. Anyways, that was almost like 20 years ago, so it still freaks me out and I still get really worried about it. And then our Ouija board story was kind of creepy.
Okay, which one? Because there was one we made out of paper and pencil, and we had salt and candles, and it was in the living room, and we both fell asleep in there, and I woke up, and the sliding glass door was open, like, this much, and my cat was, like, standing in front of it, like, looking at it, and then my dad walked through, and I was like, Dad, why is the door open? And he was like, oh, never mind, so then he closed it, so he might have just left it open, but it was really weird that Bina just sat there. She would have usually, like, ran outside.
She usually would have, yeah, but, I'm talking about the one where, we did it with Robin Cat, and it could have been,
it was so Rob fucking with you.
It could have been, but I never told him the street I used to live on. I never told him anything about that story. And when the Ouija board started giving me some really, like, creepy details on it, I was freaking out. Like, I started crying. Like, it was scary.
Aside from that, Rob made it to where this girl was following him because he had a piece of her bone marrow transplanted into his finger when he broke it.
That has nothing to do with this. But it was a really freaky experience. And anyway, the Ouija board apparently said that a demon was attached to me, and like a guy lived in that house before we did, and he did a bunch of like satanic rituals and everything like that, and brought that demon into this world, and it like attached itself to me, and I freaked the fuck out. Like, I want a demon attached to me.
Oh my god, I have other ghost stories, but not in this house. Zach, the house on Pfeiffer,
oh god,
he lived in this really nice house in Palm Coast, and it was like a 4-bedroom house. There was the master bedroom, and the master bedroom had like 2 closets in the bathroom, and then like the rest of the bathroom. So like you open the bathroom door, and there's the 2 closets on one closet on each side. So then there was also, you go down a little hallway, and there's a bathroom and a bedroom, and then like a bedroom across from that bedroom, and then there's like a hallway with the laundry room and another bedroom. Zach had that back bedroom, and me and her stayed the night one night. And I woke up in the middle of the night, and there was this black figure standing in front of the doorway, just staring at me. So I reached for my phone. I was like, can you guys, like, come back in here? Like, this is weird.
We had went out front to, I went out to have a cigarette, and we went out to talk, and we just got caught up in talking, and I guess we were out there for a long time, but Jesse was like
3 in the morning, and I'm like, what the fuck is standing in the doorway looking at me? Like, I can't leave. There's this figure. It was, like, 6 feet tall, and it, like, looked like the fucking, like, Grim Reaper. Like,
that's scary.
It was really scary. So then, God, there's so many stories in this house. So
there is. I think that we need to do a part 2 of the stories, because I know I have a lot more stories. So if you guys like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Check me out at my channel. I do daily vlogs. Or not really daily, but I try and do daily vlogs.
Like every other day.
Yeah. So give this thumb a like. Give this thumb a like. Give this thumb a like. And follow her on her channel. Subscribe to her.
This is my channel.
Well, yeah, but subscribe to her.
Anyway, subscribe to both of us.
Bye, guys.
Bye.